Hello, it's me, Mr. DC Universe, and today I have a special one for y'all today. We're going to talk about House of the Dragon, but not just House of the Dragon, Aemond Targaryen. And why are we going to talk about him? Because I found his behavior kind of strange in this new recent episode. But if you watched all the seasons, it has been continued. Now, that was a very explosive episode. Also, spoiler warning. That was a very explosive episode. But where we really need to talk about is this man's Oedipus complex. Because I noticed it, and it was just so weird. Even though it's kind of been foreshadowed throughout the season. And what is an Oedipus complex? Basically, it's an attraction to your own mother. I know, right? But what should you, so where did it come from? What is it? And does it mean psychologically? Before we talk about Aemon, let's talk about Oedipus complex. So Oedipus complex comes from Greek mythology, and it's about this person named Oedipus, or is it what's it called? Or it's the king named Oedipus. But whatever. The king has a vision, and you know how them Greek visions work. Self-fulfilling prophecies and stuff like that. The king has a vision, and he sees that his son is going to kill him. So when he sees that his son is going to kill him, he sends his son away because he says his son's going to kill him and marry his wife. So then the son, after he sends him away, he tries to kill him, and I think his mother sends him away. I'm probably remember the story wrong, but after he does that, the son eventually comes back because I think his mother sent him away probably. But then he ends up killing the king because he's so angry towards his father, and he feels like his father didn't love him. Kind of like how Aemon and Viserys, we don't really see them have much of a relationship. Viserys also might have some type of anger towards Aemon because he probably feels like Aemon was the most aggressive towards Luke and Jake when they were younger, and kind of is one of the reasons why Rhaenyra kind of left the kingdom. But we can theorize on that as much. But so after he kills him, he marries his mom, and basically that's where we get Oedipus complex. But then that's where we get the word Oedipus complex. But then it's like, if you really think about this is kind of like Aemon in a way. His father, we really never seen his father really acknowledge him that much. And we kind of seen how his father kind of did treat Aegon not good. So it's like, And then we have seen Oedipus complexes in fiction. Most recently, the character Homelander, oldly the character of Patrick Bateman. And it's kind of like Homelander didn't have a mother figure at all, and Patrick Bateman did have one, and you see how he wanted to be his mother. And this isn't even new for Aemon, because with the brothel worker, you even see his Oedipus complex there. You see that, you like, oh my god. She's, for one, an older woman, and we are learned that she did take his virginity, which is something more sensitive. And then you see her and him, you see them, and they're just laying up, and she's touching his hair, caressing him slowly. And that's usually, even with men with mother issues, they exhibit traits of that. They want like a figure to be their mother, and they're usually usually there are those times where they're not. They're usually loyal and just want someone that can really care for them and hold them, like Aemon does. But that's also why Aemon is very insecure. They're usually insecure. You see Homelander, not much Patrick Bateman, but hey, you see like Homelander. That's actually a kind of character Aemon's like. You see how Homelander, he wasn't bullied. Well, he kind of was bullied by the scientists, but the way that Homelander was bullied and abused was very different to how Aemon was bullied and abused. Also, Aemon is a little bit more prideful than Homelander, because Homelander knows deep down he's a fraud. But Aemon knows deep down, he may feel a little weak sometimes and all that, but he knows deep down that he actually got the skills. Like, Aemon actually studied, trained. So he's more of a prideful person, kind of like the character Vegeta, or other characters that are prideful. Light Yagami is a good example too, because they were actually very smart too. But I'm just saying. So why did Aemon develop this attachment to his mother? Well, first, she did comfort him, and then you also see that Aemon did have a small attraction to his sister, and his sister is actually more like the younger Alison we see. She's a little bit more sweet, naive. It's more like the younger Alison we see, so it's kind of been a thing. And then Aegon was like, oh, I gotta marry my sister. But then Aemon, he was like, oh yeah, I'd marry her if it was my duty. He sees a little bit of her mother in her. And then Elena was also a child that Adelison died on. Even though I think she did die on Aegon when they were younger. We really didn't see that, but I think she would have dotted on Aegon. Like, oh. But we really didn't see that. But I think she did. But I think Aemon and Elena were the two that she really loved the most. But she didn't realize how much that love, because how insecure Aemon was. They probably bullied Aemon worse in the show than we see. And Aemon was probably, like we can see, he was probably a little bit of a bully too. Especially, well, I don't think they saw each other unless it was Scott, but I'm just saying, he was probably a little bit of a bully too. We kind of can't see that though. Though even though they probably bullied him the most, it was kind of just like, I guess kind of Aegon was just kind of being fake towards Aemon, even though he was his brother. And Aemon probably didn't think, oh, Aemon hates me. But Aemon sees Aegon is a bully and an abuser. But Aegon doesn't really think that, because he's like in his own little world. He doesn't think, oh, my brother really hates me. He thinks I'm a bad person. No, because he's just in his own little world. But Aemon, he really resents and remembers all that, even though sometimes they did bully Luke and Jake and Jason together. But Aemon, this Oedipus complex comes from that, and like you see, he likes his sister, he likes his mother. But why does he like them? First, Alison was sweet, and Aemon was probably more so sweet when he was younger, but the bullying kind of probably did make him a little bit more mean and condescending. And plus, he was like, if like your parents don't like somebody and you know they don't like somebody, sometimes you end up not liking that person too. They ended up not liking Rhaenyra and her kids because their mother constantly probably told them, and then it's like, oh, they talk bad about them in front of him. They're going to end up not liking them too. They're going to end up resenting him like they resented Rhaenyra's kids, and they took that out. And then Rhaenyra ended up resenting them, and then her kids ended up resenting them, because Rhaenyra knew that they were probably going to be a problem, and then she didn't like Alicent. But it's like, this is real life stuff. You can relate to this. But hold on. Okay, back to Aemon. We're going to say this. Aemon has a bit of an Oedipus complex and an insecurity complex. A superiority complex. Because, when he got Vhagar, oh, I'm untouchable. I'm the greatest. Because him being able to tame Vhagar, and Vhagar is not alone, a girl too, and an older woman, even though that she's one of the first oldest dragon in the new age, because the Black Dread is dead and there are no more old dragons like there were. So she's actually, so even his dragon is an older woman. Coincidence? I think not. Okay, now let's go back. Say this. We just get Aemon a press. We just say, okay, this isn't that strange. But then he kissed Alicent. And I think Aemon kind of knows a little bit Alicent isn't with all of the stuff he does. But deep down in his heart, even though he is a monster and a probably bad person, well, he is, but he just really does want to impress his mother, want to impress people, just want people to see him as the greatest. But he could have got that the other way. That's what makes him evil. But he was bullied and taught that in this world, this is what I have to do to get this. That just made him the way he was. And that was his Oedipus complex. You see it in other characters. You see it in everybody. But that's going to be it for my video. I hope y'all enjoyed this. Next, I'll be doing a DCU, what I want out of the DCU Batman. I really do enjoy making these videos because I do talk a lot. And I am going to probably start writing better scripts to get my thoughts in order. But yeah, because I didn't even write a script really for this video. I just said, let me just go up here and say this. Because I was just thinking, I'm like, you know what, let me just go up here and say this. But what do you think is wrong with Aemon? What can we do to help him or improve him? And what do you think of House of the Dragon so far?